Hello, and welcome to On the Way. I must apologize. I'm going to sound a little sick today because I did catch a bug when I was in Illinois visiting my family. And apologize again for missing last week's episode. I had it recorded, but there were technical issues, and so here I'm recording it again. So, where I left off the last time I recorded an episode was I was in Tybee and spent the time with some girlfriends there. And I knew I was going to be heading into Texas at this point. On my way to Texas, I went through Florida and got to visit lovely people there, family and friends. And all through my journey, whenever I'd stop for gas or stop at a rest area or take a little hike somewhere, I would meet such lovely people with amazing stories. And almost always, God would come into the picture. We would talk about Him, my journey. But sometimes I knew that I was being brought to a person specifically. So on my way to Texas, I went through Louisiana and felt like I needed to go to New Orleans, which I'd never been, so I was excited and found a little place to stay a couple of nights. And when I was there that night, I found a hop on, hop off tour of the city, and I thought, well, if I'm going to be here, might as well see it. And so the next morning, excuse me, I got a cough drop in my mouth so I don't cough. So the next morning, I got up and went to go find the bus stop, walked over to the area where it should be, according to the computer, and it wasn't there. There was construction going on, and there were signs saying, go here, go there, and I was lost. I couldn't find where I needed to go. So I decided to call the bus company, the tour company, and they had just picked up when I was hearing someone crying. And so I excused myself and hung up the phone and went to find the person crying and went to her and I asked her if she was okay. And I couldn't understand her because she was crying so hard. She finally calmed down and shared with me that they wouldn't let her see her daughter. I don't know how old this woman was, late 30s maybe. And she said, they took my daughter, and I think she said her daughter was 4. And she said, they won't let me see her today. I'm supposed to have scheduled visits, and they won't let me see her today. And I said, did they tell you why? Do you know why? And she said, no. They just said I can't see her. Well, she was very intoxicated, and you could smell the alcohol on her. And I looked at her, and I said, are you sure you don't know why they won't let you see her? And she kind of looked down a little bit and looked like she was thinking. And she looked back up at me and she said, I just need help. And I said, can I give you a hug? And she said, of course. So I hugged her and she cried some more. And then I told her that God sent me to her and that if she leaned on Him, He could help. I said, you just have to go to Him. He's waiting to hear from you. He's here for you. And I said, can I say a prayer? And she said, of course. So we held each other, and her sobbing became more of a gentle cry. And as I prayed, she prayed. And it was a lovely moment. And I don't know what happened to her or her daughter or what became of that, but I pray and hope that she found strength and learned to lean on God, because I know that He can do those things in people's lives. We just have to reach for Him. So as we parted and I decided I needed to call the tour company again, I was in a prayer of gratitude again, because that's always so lovely for me to be part of that, and went to dial my phone, and right in front of me was the bus stop. So I got on the bus, I did the tour. It was a very lovely city, and met some other people downtown, which was fun. They were very interested in what I was doing there, so I shared with them, and then packed up and started heading to Texas. But as I was getting ready for bed one night in a Love's Travel Stop parking lot, I was talking to one of my sons, and he said, I told him I felt the need to start writing. And he said, maybe you're going to write a book. So I have written a book before. I've published a book before. And I don't think I'm a writer. I think I'm more of a storyteller. But I thought, well, maybe that is what's going to be. Maybe I'm going to write a book about this whole adventure. I don't know. But as we hung up, I went into prayer about it. And I sure enough felt like I needed to go to a place where what I was seeing was a place on the water, like on a deck, a wooden deck, and that I would be sitting out there writing. And so I went looking for this place, and sure enough, I found it, and it was very inexpensive because I proposed to the owner. It was an Airbnb, and it was a trailer on the water. And I said, if I stay this long, can I get a better deal? And I got a better deal. So I pull up in there, unload my car completely, can clean it out, can do my laundry. So it was a good couple of days to just get settled, and then started writing. Every morning I was out on that deck drinking coffee and writing. And about the fourth day in, I kept hearing, I need you to go to the beach. And I love the beach. I'm all about the beach. I love the ocean. I love the water. I love the way the light hits the water. I feel close to God when I'm in nature, but specifically at the beach. And I thought, well, is that me wanting to go to the beach, or is it God really saying, I need you at the beach? And then I didn't know, where is the closest beach to where I am? I'm in Texas. So I Googled that and found that Galveston was the place. So I knew that that's where I needed to head. But the hotels were really kind of expensive. So I was like really uncomfortable with doing that. And the next morning, I got an alert that the hotel I was looking at had dropped considerably. I mean, considerably. So I was like, okay, that's where I'm going. So I packed up, got Bonnie sent to a place because she hates the water. Got her to a place for a couple of days and headed to my hotel. The guy at the front desk told me a lovely place on the end of the pier that had coffee in the morning and of a nice seafood restaurant down the street. A couple of miles, he said. And so that was just afternoon when I got there. So that afternoon, I got into my room and pulled out my computer and started to write. And then I realized I couldn't turn it on because it was dead, and didn't bring my charger, which is not like me. I always bring my charger. So anyway, so I thought, okay, I'm not supposed to write. And just took a little stroll onto the beach for a little bit, and then went to bed. And the next morning walked out to the pier and got my coffee as the sun was coming. It was beautiful. Of course it's beautiful. The sunrise is always beautiful, but the way it hits the water is just so lovely to me. And went into the little, it's like a bait shop, that they have coffee, and I think they have some snacks, and they sell souvenirs, but that you can fish off that pier. So they have bait as well. And a woman was running it, and she was making my coffee, and she looked sad to me, very sad. And we struck up a conversation. And in this conversation, I told her what I was doing, my journey. And she starts crying, and she yells to her husband, I told you he was going to send someone. She's standing right in front of me. I prayed for you. I prayed that you were going to come tell me. I just needed reassurance from God. And I said, send me someone to tell me, to reassure me of this. And of course I felt overwhelmed, and she was crying. And so we were crying tears of joy together. So that was very lovely. And I knew then, this is why I'm here. God sent her what it was that she was asking for. So that evening, I decided to walk to the restaurant. It was a couple miles away, and I walked there and realized that you had to have reservations because it's a very nice restaurant and a lot of people want to eat there. And met some lovely people at the bar who we became fast friends and shared my story with them, and very, very lovely time. And then packed up my stuff, went back to the Airbnb that I was staying at the trailer, and wrote some more. And so then I was heading to an area where I have some cousins that live. And I thought, I had a girlfriend that I've known since I was 9, that at some point I was going to see her, but I just felt like I needed to get to a little further south. And so I started driving and I heard, I need you to stop again. And it somewhat worried me to spend money on places to stay because I had limited funds, like I've said. But I was also told in the beginning of my travels by God, don't worry about the money. You're going to be fine. So I just didn't worry. I just did what I was told. So I found a lovely place to stay and asked the owner if there was a place around there that had live music because I love live music. And she said, yeah, there's this place that I've not been to, but they have live music. And so I found them on Facebook and messaged them. And she told me when the doors opened and when they would be playing music. And this was probably it was Thursday afternoon, I think, when I got there. And the live music was going to be Saturday. So I thought, okay, that'll be fun. So I wrote, I went and hiked a lot, because when I hike, I can meditate and pray and get exercise and be outside. But I did write. And then Saturday, I wrote all day long. There's just sometimes when the stories just flow. And so by Saturday evening, I was exhausted. I just wanted to go to bed. I didn't want to take a shower and get ready. I didn't want to do any of that. But I kept hearing, I need you to go. I need you to go. And I know I shouldn't argue at this point, but I still argued. I was so tired. But I did as I was told. I jumped in the shower, got ready, and headed to the venue. And it's quite lovely. It's got outdoor seating. I think there's indoor seating if it's like a inclement day or something. But anyway, it's outdoor seating. So the waitress met me there, lovely woman, and she sat me, and right away we just started talking about our faith, about what I was doing, and about how God moved in her life. And it was so beautiful. Her story is one of resilience, of triumph, and she said she owes it all to God. So as she shared this story, it was so moving, and I was so fortunate to be hearing her that I've contacted her. She's one of the people who I will be having share her story on here. So I'm not going to do a spoiler alert, this is a spoiler alert, I should say, that I don't want to spoil things because that's her story and I want her to share it. It's just amazing. So, she was getting my drink and my order, and she had other people take care of, and I said a quick prayer because while her story is amazing, and I'm sure you'll think that when you hear it, I did think that there's a lot of people with similar stories, not exactly hers, but similar. So what was different here? I just felt like there was something else that I was missing. And as the evening went on and she revealed something to me, I understood. I understood exactly why God needed me there that night to hear that story from that person. So I will share that part of it with you when she's on, when we have a little chit chat on here, because it's a very important part of the story. So after a while, I had some dinner, and the music was going to be starting a little bit later than I think I even thought. I got there when the doors opened because I thought, when the lady who runs the place said the doors open at 5, I thought, oh, it's going to be crowded. So that's why I got there early. But I realized that for some reason, as people were coming in, quite a crowd, and the band was setting up, I kept hearing, I need you to leave. I need you to go. And so I did. I didn't get to hear the music, which was disappointing, but it just felt like it was time to go. I was there specifically to meet this woman and hear her story. And I had to leave abruptly. And we found each other on Facebook. I don't remember who found who, but we found each other on Facebook and messaged each other and set up dinner together with her family the Sunday afternoon before I left, so we could say goodbye. So after that, I got to see my family. I went up to visit my girlfriend, and it's such a blessing to have a friend like that. And most people have these kinds of friends. We met at Girl Scout camp when we were 9. I think we were 9 or 10. And we went to different schools, even though we lived in the same town. We went to different schools. And through the years, we could go long spurts of time where we didn't talk. But when we connect again, it's as if no time had passed at all. So I stayed with her and her husband and their plethora of dogs and cats. She's got a heart of gold when it comes to animals and people too, but she's got a tender spot for animals. And they attend a lovely church there. And I don't remember if we went to church that time, but I have been to church, their church with them. But her husband is a man of faith, strong faith. But he said, what he said was, I'm envious of the faith you have. I said, no, you don't envy it. You admire it. And so we had a little discussion about it and didn't go deep. We did on another occasion. It wasn't that occasion. It was another occasion when we did. But anyway, so I get ready to leave Texas and decide that it's time to head north. And as I'm driving north, I'm meeting other people along the way and stopped to meet childhood friend that I only knew through my deaf parents because her parents were deaf. She was older than me and I thought she was just so lovely when I was a child. And then when I met her and had lunch with her, she's still a lovely person. And as I'm driving north, I'm going to stop in Illinois, see my family, but I know I'm going to Michigan because I have a stepdad who lives there, an elderly stepdad, and I have a brother and his then fiance, who is now his wife. And so as I'm driving up there, I'm in prayer and I hear, you're going to stay longer than a week, because I thought I'll be there a week. And so I called my brother and I said, I'm going to be there longer than a week. And he said, well, my fiance's son is still staying here. He goes, but you could stay in Larry's basement. Larry's my stepdad. He has a nice setup down there. There's a bathroom and a little kitchenette. And I said, well, I'll stay in a place, maybe a hotel for a night or two and clean out the basement because he's a bachelor and he doesn't go down there. So I thought I'll stay in a hotel for a day or two and then clean up the basement. And that's what I did. And I moved into the basement and I thought, well, if I'm going to be here, I might as well make a little bit of money. And I found a seasonal job as a hostess and at a golf course restaurant and absolutely loved the kids that I worked with. It was so much fun. But when I told my brother I was going to come up there, let me back up a little bit. He said, why? And I said, I have no idea. I don't know why I'm going up there. I mean, I know why I'm going up there. I just don't know why God's saying I'll be there longer than 3 weeks or a week, because that was my plan. And so we kind of speculated a little bit, but we weren't sure. And so I'm going to save that story for next week. It was very clear very soon after I got there as to why I was there. But anyway, I'm going to say goodbye for now and hopefully get one of these recorded before next week and get back on track. So I apologize for being sick. I apologize for technical issues that happened to the video, but not to the podcast. But it is what it is. I'm not worried about it. So I will... so if you have a story that you want to share about how God moved in your life, please email me at Tammy Blake. That's one M and an I, TAMIBLAKE at TammyBlake.com. And I'd love to chit chat with you and maybe talk to you on here. So I will talk to you guys soon and know that God loves you, and so do I. Have a great week.